Yo, how are we doing? Hope that we're all well. Coming at you from a slightly earlier time today. So, welcome to episode 34 of the Always Better Than Yesterday interview sessions. It's great to have you with us. Really appreciate you catching up on replay. Just drop in the comments #replay. Let me appreciate you. Let me just connect and say thank you for joining. If you're catching up on the podcast, thank you very much. I hope that this invite, that's because I'm reading the word. Hope this interview session will serve you well. If it does, please do share it with someone that you think will benefit from it, and obviously subscribe, leave a review, whatever you so desire if this content adds you some value. So I'm just sending a few invites now to make sure we've got as many people as we can in a conversation. Dave, good to see you. Wendy, Joanne, happy days, happy Sunday. Let me just keep some invites going, make sure that my guest is on as well. That will always help. So, I hope that we've had a really good couple of days in the snow. It's been a cold one, so there's my guest invited. Fantastic. Happy days. So you're coming at a bit of an earlier time today. Normally it would be 8 p.m, but it's 3 p.m. because our guest is coming all the way from the east coast of America today. So I've adjusted the time a little bit. Hope that is cool. If it means you got to catch up on replay, not a problem. I appreciate you for joining us. So if this is the first time you've ever caught an Always Better Than Yesterday interview session, let me just give you a very, very quick overview of what they're all about. I love learning about people. I love learning about the mindset of people, how people think, because I genuinely believe that it's the way that people think will inform the way people act, which will inform the results that people get. So I've been very fortunate to interview 33 people up to now. Today is episode 34, and we've had loads and loads of guests ranging from Paralympians to UFC fighters to some good friends and complete different backgrounds, walks of life, and it's all about understanding the mindset behind these people. And I've got a really inspiring guest that I'm going to bring with us today. Her name is Natalie Strasser, and Corey and we were watching, I'll tell you how I came across Natalie and her content. We were watching a series on Netflix called Ultimate Beastmaster, which is just like Ninja Warrior but on steroids. It's absolutely epic. And there was this one episode where Natalie was representing Team USA, and she injured herself quite badly in one of the activities and got a huge gash in her arm. And did it stop her? No. And she put blood under her eyes as if to be ready for war. And I was like, yeah, that is my kind of mindset. I'd love to know more about that. So I've been following Natalie ever since, and I'm really looking forward to asking her a few questions. And she's done loads and loads of other things as well, not just Ultimate Beastmaster. So I'm going to dive into some of those things as well. So hopefully I can bring Natalie on with me now. So yeah, if questions lined up or if you've got questions as we go, please do ask them. Just bringing her on now. Hopefully we won't have any Facebook Live issues. Last week went well. Positive thinking. Oh, the suspense. There we go.
Just one technical difficulty. I just have to put my phone on the tripod real quick.
Sweet. I shall wait. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Very well.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to put the phone down really quick, okay?
Sweet. Hey, Sarah. How you doing? Who else we got on? Fiona, Jess. Hope you're recovering well, Jess. Good to see you, Dave. Amazing.
Okay.
There we go.
Technology.
Fantastic.
Okay, is that good?
That is good.
Okay.
Good to go. Fantastic. Well, great to see you. Do you mind doing me the honor and the privilege of introducing your good self?
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Strasser, and I am talking to you from Brooklyn, New York.
Amazing. Just give us a little bit of an overview of your story, some of the things that you've done and leading up to today, really.
Yeah, yeah, I've had quite an interesting experience, the last 8 years since
Hmm.
I started to pursue various things. Um, Originally, I kind of kickstarted this career by doing parkour
Hmm.
it's probably been about 8 years now. And from then, I started doing a couple live shows, and then I met some people and was like, oh, stunts. Well, let me see if I can try to do that. Um, and that led me to moving out to Los Angeles and doing more live shows, meeting people, and then eventually moving back to the East Coast to continue to pursue stunts here. And in the middle there, did some Ninja Warrior, also did Ultimate Beastmaster. Couple of I was on Tosh.0 for Web Redemption, so
Yeah,
I, you know, that kind of stuff.
that's amazing. Would you say that you love what you do?
I do. It can be frustrating sometimes,
Hmm.
sometimes you love to hate what you do as well. I don't hate it, but there are trying times with anything that, you
Mm,
are passionate about.
yeah, I talk a lot about pursuing loving what you do, and it's not because it's the easy option. And I guess would you say that your career it's been easy?
No, it has not been easy. But I think when things aren't easy, they tend to tell a better story and you learn a lot more about
Mm,
yourself. Um, I also think that we as humans tend to make things more difficult for ourselves
hmm.
than they should be. So, yeah, I've made things more difficult for myself along this process. But
Yeah.
again, in retrospect, learning about that has been awesome.
Do you mind telling us a bit more about that?
Oh, well, we talk, you talk about mindset and things like that. And I've actually been reading this book. It's called The Happiness Project
Hmm.
by Gretchen Rubin, I believe her name is. And I've actually really, really enjoyed it so far. And it just talks about happiness and trying to find your own happiness. And
Mm,
reading through it and doing a lot of, um, thinking about myself in the last few years, you kind of realize, oh, hey, like I made things harder on myself. Like
hmm.
I was, like this with people
Yeah.
or certain bits about your personality and I don't know, it's hard. It's learning how to deal with other people. I think a lot of us have I mean, I know I was naive moving out to LA. I'm from a really small town. I thought everyone was really nice. I thought everyone wanted to help you with your goals, which isn't true. And that's okay. I mean, that's how you kind of learn who your real friends are and,
Hmm.
and who you wanna support. So
Yeah. Tell me about how you got into parkour.
I got into parkour really randomly. It's
Mm,
a funny story. So, I used to live in Washington, D.C., and I moved there after I graduated college because I studied international relations,
hmm.
minored in Spanish, and I wanted to be a diplomat. Well, I don't like sitting at a desk. I learned that lesson by being an intern.
Mm,
So, one year I just, I was not very happy with what was happening in my life. I think I was probably about like 24 and I think I operate better when I take it to the extreme. So like, know this, know that. Like I said, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make me happy. I'm gonna
mm,
follow that kind of stuff. And so what I did, I was bartending at the time, and I was teaching children gymnastics that were 2 to 5 years old for this company called Power Tots,
hmm.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I love the fiddle. Like I'm gonna learn how to play the fiddle. Like that was the first step of my like January 1st resolution.
Yeah.
So I go and I take lessons from this guy. It's like $60 an hour. I go and I'm terrible. I'm so bad. I've never been a musician. I just like to listen to music. I like to dance. So after about 3 lessons of paying $60, I never practiced at home.
Mm,
My roommate was like, "Wow, you sound terrible." And I was like, "I know, I should practice more, but I just didn't feel like it."
mm.
And then finally I went to the fourth lesson, and the whole time I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be here. And I left and I realized my fly was down. And I was like, oh, that's so embarrassing. Like this whole time I suck at playing, the violin, and my fly was down. And so I just didn't go back. I returned the rental. And at that point, I was actually transitioning to moving out of my mom's place into an apartment with my friend. And I was going through all my papers, and I had realized that, I was looking through this old notebook, and I'm like, oh, sorry, someone was calling me. I was like, Primal Fitness, M Street, Washington, D.C., and I was like, oh yeah, parkour. Cool. So I was like, I'm gonna go try this stuff. So I sent them an email, and looking back on it, my email was probably a little aggressive. I was like, level 10 gymnast, I'm really high level. I don't really feel like that I need to take a beginner class. Like, I think I could just jump right in. Looking back, I'm like, wow, I was really sure of myself. So,
where did that come from?
Where did being sure of myself? Sorry, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I really enjoyed how my parents raised me. They never tell me you have to do this, and they never told me you can't do that. So I just kind of operated on my own uniqueness, I guess. I really focused on gymnastics a lot, and I think being from a small town as well, that growth, I didn't, social media really wasn't a thing yet. I didn't, I didn't look up to, it's weird because it's like you look up to people, but it wasn't kind of the same. Like I didn't, celebrities were kind of whatever. I think I just wanted to be on the Olympics, because I was a gymnast.
Yeah.
But so then I started doing parkour, and the rest is, I guess, history. So
with
very long story. I like telling stories.
No, it's great. I love it. And with parkour, I guess it must teach you so much about yourself, because there must be difficult challenges, obstacles that you're going to bail, you're going to fail, you're going to have injuries. What sort of things is 8 years you've been doing it now, did you say? 8 to 10 years?
And and I don't do it every single day. Once I started doing stunts, there were other things that kind of took my energy. And this year I actually plan on getting more into parkour in the community, because I really miss it, and it really does bring me happiness. So, but original question, sorry. Oh, about parkour. Yeah, so it's really, I equate it with gymnastics. I think for a long, long time, and I think a lot of athletes and other people who did stuff as children can relate to this. I did gymnastics probably 20 to 25 hours a week when I was a kid. Even up until college, I was a Division I gymnast. And your schedule is built around training. So you don't know any other life. Yeah. And what's crazy is once that is gone, when I became an adult, like halfway through college, I stopped gymnastics. And I think since then, I've just been grasping, like trying to fill that void. And it's taken me, I'm 33 now. It's taken me almost 10, 11 years to kind of figure that out about myself, that I was just trying to fill some void. Like, what can be the next gymnastics for me? And I kind of felt like parkour was like that for me. It challenged me mentally, physically, emotionally. Great community of people. But yeah, a lot of people talk about parkour symbolizing, hey, this obstacle in front of me, I can't climb this 12-foot wall yet. Let me build up to it. And just like in life, an obstacle comes along, and you, by using the similarity between an obstacle and parkour, and then in real life, it kind of helps you navigate and make it more of a fun challenge, instead of being like, oh no, how can I do this? Like, I don't want to face this. I'm going to go work on something else. And then you can come back to it.
Yeah. Did you get nervous?
I'm sorry?
Did you get nervous?
Do I get nervous? Yeah, I'm kind of nervous now. But like nervous excitement. I don't know. I haven't competed in a long time. I'd really like to do some parkour competitions this year, just for me. Like, I know that I'm not at the level of people competing, and I don't want to make it about that. I
Hmm.
want to go out and know that it's about community and people supporting each other, just like Ninja Warrior
Yeah.
was. I haven't been on Ninja Warrior in a long time and it's changed a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but it's always been a very supportive community. So I like that. I like when you're around people who are like, hey, yeah, your goals might seem crazy, but hey, we're gonna rally behind you and we're also kind of on that same path.
Hmm. Tell us about those shows that you've been on then. What were those experiences like?
Well, the first show that I was ever on, I mean, I guess I've just been on a lot of reality stuff. I was on a show called Tosh.0, which I don't know if you guys watch it over there, but it is basically a guy who makes fun of you for messing up on the internet. So I messed up pretty badly and I smashed my face on a brick wall like
Wow.
8 years ago or something, and I broke my nose, and it wasn't actually that bad of an injury. Like the next day I was moving around, a couple days later I was flipping, but visually it was gnarly. And just like, you know, I posted it on YouTube and I didn't really think anything of it. Next day later, like it blows up and it's like, whoa, this girl smashes her face, gnarly. She's an amateur. She's nobody. This is
Yeah.
nothing. Like, hey, why aren't you in the kitchen making sandwiches? That
Mm.
was the at the time, and the internet was just full of all these trolls, and I kind of fell into like, whoa, who are these people to judge me?
Mm.
And I kind of got sad about it. And then a few,
Yeah.
there are some people who were very supportive and also like, dude, you're on Tosh.0. That's so cool. Um, so there's that experience.
Yeah.
So actually, before that, I was on Ninja Warrior. I forgot about that. Sorry. So my first year of Ninja Warrior, I remember watching the video the year before, being like, "Oh my God, I could be on that show! Like,
Hmm.
that's awesome! Like, I know that I could do that course." But the time had already passed for me to send in an audition tape. So I ended up um, applying the year later, and I loved it. I had a great time. I think I enjoyed it the most because I had zero expectations
Yeah.
about everything. I'd never been on the course. I'd only watched it on TV. I was super nervous, and I think because I was so nervous and I didn't know what to expect, I went like 110%.
Mm.
And I ended up being like the furthest woman. Um, and I mean, I fell in like the fourth obstacle. So it wasn't like, oh, I climbed the wall and this and that.
Yeah.
But then I got invited back the year later, and I just didn't have as much heart in it. Like I
Hmm.
kind of knew what to expect, but I hadn't really trained very
Hmm.
hard for it. Like I've been focusing on stunts, and I was getting over a really bad injury, um, and just dealing with all of that, the mental stress of moving to a new city,
Mm.
trying to pursue stunts in Los Angeles. I think I was kind of at a lower point, and I just only ran because they asked me to.
Yeah.
And, I don't regret that, of course, but I think now my outlook has changed a lot more,
Hmm.
where I'm like, oh, if I want to do this, I'm going to actually put some energy into it and not just take it
Yeah.
because of the opportunity that I had before. And then years later, I do Ultimate Beastmaster. And at the time, so I think I did it it aired in December of last year, and I did it the year before that. So I did it in like November of 2017.
Hmm.
So it's funny because the whole time I'm like, do I want to do reality TV again? Like, I haven't really been training specifically for obstacle courses. Do I want to tell people my life story? Do they care? Like all this stuff. So I decided, I said, sure, I'm going to go in and just have fun. The project sounds really cool. I get to be with people from 5 other countries, who share a passion for movement, just
Mm.
anything, whether that be weightlifting or archery or anything, rock climbing, parkour. So, you know, I spent 10 days over there, and I think the biggest thing that I was scared of was I was scared that I was going to get called for a stunt job, and then I was going to have to say no to that. And I think that, people first starting out in their careers for stunts, actors, that kind of stuff,
Mm.
that is a real thing. You feel like you always have to say yes, yes, yes. You always have to be available, but then calls might not come for 6 months. But as soon as you decide to do something else, you book a plane ticket to go on vacation, you do this, everyone calls you, and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh. And
Yeah.
then you have to make that choice. Are you okay saying no? or are you going to live your life based off of always, you know, always having to change plans? And that can cause you to lose relationships. That can cause you to lose friends. You know, it's hard.
Worth it?
So, but that's it so far. I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, I'd like to maybe do some more obstacle course shows this year. I thought about maybe going back on Ninja Warrior, because it's been so long, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe people have suggestions.
Yeah, if you've got any comments, then drop them in below. And I was talking on the intro, I don't know if you heard, but obviously me and my son Corey, who's 6, we were watching Ultimate Beastmaster, and we saw this moment where you injured your elbow, and then it was just the war paint came out, and it was just like, wow. Like, what was going through your mind? Can you take us back to that moment? What was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, so I just remember watching the show. So the show is a little different than Ninja Warrior in the sense that like each episode was a competition in itself. So when you're there filming, you're watching everyone. So to you it's not based, and you're running with people in your episode. So it's not based off of like, oh, these are the only people in my episode. But I was watching, and up until that point, no other woman had gotten to that obstacle. And I was like, dang, like that must be a really hard obstacle. And I'm kind of short, so in my mind I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get to that obstacle, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I knew the only way that I could do it was if I just jumped with my arms straight out. And, up to that point, I, was doing great on the show, came up to it, came to the obstacle, and was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump and reach out. So I jumped and I squirreled and I caught it. And I got up because I was so excited and my adrenaline was just racing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, oh my God, I did it. Now, to the audience, it's not that big of a deal because I guess, they've been watching all the episodes, but it wasn't like, oh, she's the first chick to make it to that. But I knew I was, and I was like, yes, that means everyone else can make it. So, I'm going like this, and then I'm like, oh man, there's blood on my pants. That's so weird. And, sometimes my skin bleeds around my fingers. It gets really dry in New York, and I was like, oh, it must just be my finger because of the rope or the chain. So I look, it's not, and then I just look down here, and there's just a trail of blood, and I follow it to, this is my scars here.
Wow.
But I follow it to here, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I just freak out because my emotions are high. I'm very dramatic. I can be very emotional. So I'm just like, everything is just like pouring out. And then at that point, everyone's like, oh shoot. Production's like, Natalie, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know, my arm, I'm dying. I'm not really, but I was just like in shock, especially so much blood. And so they're like, we can come get you. You don't have to get in the water. And I was like, awesome. Well, okay. So, and then Team USA and like everyone else, they're like, Natalie, and they're like, you can do it. And my friends are, I don't want to swear, but my friend, she's funny for saying stuff. She's like, don't be a little bee. And I'm like, ah. And then I start laughing and I'm able to compose myself. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I will be upset if, at myself if I don't attempt this jump. Now, I probably really did only try 90% because I think I could have made the jump. But I was afraid of pain. I was afraid of hitting the water and having it hurt a lot. But I actually didn't experience any pain. It was just the shock. So, but yeah, I decided to wipe the blood on my face because, like I said before, I don't know, I like to make people laugh, and I kind of like that moment, that living in the moment, and I was like, oh, LOL, like, let me just wipe this blood on my face and scream. And it worked because it helped me calm down, and it made my friends laugh and let them know that I was okay.
That's really powerful. You've got a question that's come through around,
Sure.
So I think this kind of ties onto the back of when you talked about having to decide between opportunities that come up. And Dave, a friend of mine, says, how do you reflect and decide when several opportunities come up? Because he's got an opportunity, he's got a job opportunity, but he's doing some college work, which he might have to stop. So yeah, just take us through that kind of process around when you've got to decide between competing things, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of growth. So growth as a person, growth, maybe towards your career or your passion or this and that. So, sometimes you do have to make a split second decision. But I never want to feel rushed about making the decision. So I do try, if I can, you know, depending on my relationship with the person, is I ask, you know, when do you need to know by? You know, when do you need to know? Because, you know, I am working, or, you know, but I think when I try to make a decision, I don't want to think about it for too long, because I think most of us already know the decision that we want to make. We just torture ourselves by overthinking, and then pulling all these different what if scenarios. But I think it just, you know, you think about, hey, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, will I regret saying no? Or will I regret not going on this vacation? You know, and I think that it's just understanding what priorities are and what makes you happy. And I know people, like, maybe you have a vacation planned with your family, and they know that this job opportunity is like really important to you and you've been working really hard. You know, they may understand, and you can join them later, or, you know, that. Otherwise, maybe they won't understand, you know, like some people have, you know, they have a threshold. They're like, okay, this is the 20th time you've done this. Like, bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Hope that helps, Dave. Hope that helps.
Yeah,
Great answer. Yeah. You already know the answer. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I feel like you do.
Yeah, I think so. When I watched your clip on the American Ninja Warrior, you said something which was about you had the attitude of knowing that you were going to make it through. And is that confidence, or is that visualization? Tell me, where does that come from? The having the attitude of knowing that you're going to make it through.
I think it's confidence. I also think it's blended with a little bit of naivety, and that's
Yeah.
and that's only because it was like my first time doing it. And you know, it's the hype. You know, they interview you and you're like, yeah, I got this. You know, you wanna. It would be really boring if I was on a TV show and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it. I'm no fun. Like, just, you know what? I don't even know why I'm on the show. You know, so it's a little bit of like it's not faking it until you make it, but it's an idea behind it. Like, if I tell myself I can do it, then you're more apt to like actually give 100%.
Yeah.
Because if you go in with a negative mindset already, like, oh man, I'm gonna fail, because that's what I did my second time, and guess what? I did not do well. You know, so I really think it's confidence, but you know, that faking it till you make it as well.
I've got a young daughter. She's 3.5, and you know, I'd love her to grow up, you know, high self-belief, high self-confidence, and things like that. And I think you're a great role model for people in general, but also for women and for young girls. You know, you carry yourself well. You've got, you know, I like your exuberance, your confidence. I like the way you come across, and I like the courage with which you show up to, whether it be your stunts or whether it be to your physical activities. And I just, you know, I guess I'd be curious to know what sort of advice you have for young girls growing up these days.
Yeah, so you had asked me that question earlier, and you know, I gave some thought to it, and you know, I think there's, you know, the environment that kids are growing up in today is different. And I know that if you would have asked my mom the same question when I was a baby, like, she would say the same thing. Like, it's just going to constantly be different for each generation. And I think one of the things that struck me the most was people have FOMO now. Like, we had it a little bit back then, but the FOMO is so real now. I can go on the internet and I'm like, man, that person's living their best life. Like, everyone's a celebrity. You know, like, everyone can be, you know, you have influencers, you have this, you have that, and I mean, behind this screen, you know, everything's fake. Like, I could be, you know, put a plant here and make it look like I'm in some exotic place, and I'm actually not. Like, I'm in my apartment and I'm sitting on the floor because this is the best wall behind me. Because it's the prettiest. Like,
I do like brick walls.
You know, yeah, it's a great wall. But that's the thing is, you know, you have to decide what you want for yourself, because I see way too many people who are trying to please their parents or trying to please their peers or their colleagues when they actually don't want to be doing that. And I think that's the hardest thing to recognize about yourself, is that you may not fit in with that group anymore, or
Yeah.
and everyone wants to be different, but people don't actually want to be different. They want to be the same. They want to be accepted. They want to feel like they're part of a community. They want to feel happy. They want to feel like they're, working towards a goal. There's a lot of things. But yeah, for girls, I would say, it's okay to want to experience different things. And I think there's this mindset about not failing and not doing this and not doing that. But I mean, say you see people acting on TV and you want to be an actress, and then you go and you start, pouring everything into acting, and then you get there and you realize, and you work a couple jobs and you're like, I actually don't want to do this. I thought I did,
Yep.
but I don't. But you have to be okay to then, bury that dream.
Yep.
Grieve for it, have your grief, and then move on, because then you're going to always be like, well, what if this call, I get this job, or, and it's okay to want to be, some people want to be, stay-at-home moms and take care of children. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people want to be single. And, when you're a young person, you don't know everything yet. So it's okay to kind of do everything, experience everything, because
Experiences, yeah.
you don't want to be like, well, I have this regret where I was given this opportunity to go do this thing, but that would have meant leaving my comfortable job, or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I like that. Thank you for that.
yeah, of course.
My ethos and how I show up and help people is about helping people be always better than yesterday. I'm just curious to know what the words "always better than yesterday" mean to you.
So, like I was saying, I've been doing a lot of thinking, not probably overthinking, but just kind of self-reflection the past year and a half, like what my life has been like in New York, pursuing stunts and doing other things. And I was stuck in a rut for a little while here, and I did not get out and do the things I'm supposed to do for stunts. And now that I've been taking it day by day, I've realized that better than yesterday is going to be different. Like maybe yesterday, the best thing I could do is just get out of bed, and make myself breakfast. And that's okay. And I think we definitely need to use, looking into the future and looking into the past as reflective moments, but we shouldn't be dwelling on those things, because really the present is where we are given an opportunity for growth and for change. And, the past offers lessons, and it can be hard to reflect on stuff in the past, especially about yourself, where you realize that maybe you weren't the best person, or you could have made better choices, but that you have moved on past that stuff. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's tackling a larger goal. It could mean small projects each day to help. I know one of those, like, hey, just going to work out. Like, even if it's just doing handstands or that kind of stuff, like, working out to me means I'm in a better mindset. And, treating myself the best, because, if I eat all my meals every day, if I make sure I drink enough water, if I get enough sleep, if I exercise, then I'm actually in my, I feel the best. And then that's when I can make better decisions. I don't snap at people because I'm hungry. I mean, hangry. There's ways to kind of make sure that I'm in my best mindset to really make decisions and decide where I want my passion and energy to go.
What helps you stay consistent and disciplined with that?
It's very hard in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. And, I think becoming part of a community, especially when you're exercising, that helps a lot. Knowing that, I think being self-aware of being like, wow, I feel really great. Like, if you like coffee, okay, drink coffee, but you don't need 5 cups a day, 6 cups a day. If you like wine, drink wine, but a bottle is not okay. There's things that are in moderation great for you, and I think it's just understanding how you feel. Like, what makes you feel like crap?
Yeah.
What makes you feel really good? And then that should be the incentive. Like, hey, I feel great. Like, cherish that moment of like, I love what's happening right now. How can I continue to feel this way? Because, you know, positive, attracts positive. And, if you're constantly around negativity, it's just going to drain you. And even if you're a positive person, being around negative people, don't be like, bye. But you can be like, you can kind of almost turn yourself off from that negative emotion and still help them,
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I've really enjoyed this chat. This has been
yeah,
ace.
me too. This
This
was
has been
great.
ace.
I was kind of nervous.
No, you've done great, and it's been fascinating. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming, spending some time with me, sharing a few of your stories. Where can our watchers, listeners, viewers find out more about you? How can they connect with you?
So, I mean, my personal assistant. Hi, no, I'm kidding. It's me. But yeah, you guys can send me messages on Facebook. I started a Facebook group, but it felt artificial. Not a group. I started a page, but kind of felt artificial. I used to have a website. I'm gonna get that back up and running. But yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram, just Natalie Strasser. I post a lot of my training videos. I've thought about trying to keep a lot more, just update my stuff every day and really kind of reach out to people and let them engage with me. But yeah, Facebook is fine. I'm pretty open. You can send me an email, that kind of
Amazing.
stuff.
Definitely reach out. Definitely follow some of Natalie's content. It's pretty awesome. Would you do me the great privilege of leaving the viewers and listeners with a final thought from yourself?
Ooh, tough. I did not prepare for this. Um,
Whatever's on the heart.
yeah, I just, as conceited as being happy sounds, like just say, hey, be happy. It's not as easy as it appears, but I think if you take care of yourself first, love yourself, and kind of figure out what it is that brings you happiness, even if it means you gotta fake it a little bit, in the long run, it's gonna help a lot because hey, I'm not always happy, but it doesn't help when I'm around people and I'm complaining or and there's nothing wrong with hey, I need to share with you how I'm feeling. But it just becomes a cycle. So choosing to make yourself feel happy is it's not selfish because you're going to be able to then help other people.
Yeah, love that. I appreciate the honesty that you bring to the talk. I appreciate the energy as well.
Thank you.
I look forward to continuing to follow your content. I hope that we connect again in the future.
Yeah, likewise. And thanks everyone for questions. I don't know. I've never done one of these live things before, so I don't. If you have questions, you can just shoot me.
Fantastic. Wendy says it was great to hear you talk, keeping it real, open and natural, very inspiring.
Thank you, Wendy.
Dave says, really awesome chat, very inspiring. So we've got some great comments coming through, and
Cool.
I'm sure there'll be more as more people catch up on replay. What I'll do is I'll share this to the podcast as well, and I'll share it to YouTube. So if you're watching or listening there, let me just say thank you for taking the time out. Please do like, subscribe, share, whatever you feel like you would like to do. But definitely follow Natalie's content, reach out to her personally, and show her some love. So Natalie, just say thank you so much for taking the time out this weekend. Have a great rest of your week, and I hope that we connect again soon.
You too, and I look forward to talking with everyone in the future.
Amazing. Much love, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.